Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel codeWithKhan. So if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Today's topic is string versus string builder versus string buffer classes in Java. So these three classes are same, used to store the string literals. Okay, so what is the difference between these three classes then is only is how they stores the string literals. Is string literals and how they manage them. So manage means modification or deletions like that. Deletion. So now let's take one by one. So first one is string. So the string class is called like whenever we use the string classes whenever we need to define some string variables. So let's take one string s1 is equals to code. So how this is stored, so we have, let's assume this as a memory of JVM. So we have two types of memory. One is stack memory where variables and methods are stored, and another one is heap memory where objects are stored. So whenever we create an object using the new keyword, so all those objects are stored in this heap memory. So the strings are handled specially in Java, so it uses some space called, this space is called string constant pool. So whenever we create the strings, the string literals are stored in the string constant pool. So in this scenario, so s1 is stored in the stack memory and the string literal code is stored in the heap memory, and this s1 will refer to this code variable. Okay, so now what happens when we try to modify this s1? So strings are immutable in Java, right? So once we create the string literals, we cannot modify them. So what happens if we modify them? So for example, if I take, like we have the s1 already, so what I will do is s1 is equals to code, I will add with Khan. So now s1 will become code with Khan, but what happens internally? So this s1 is no more pointing to this code, but it will create a new literal called code with Khan, and this s1 will now point to the, now this s1 will point to the this string literal. Now this is no more used by s1. So this s1 will be removed by the garbage collector automatically when it is not being used for some time. Okay, so let's see some interview type of questions. So what they say is, given string s1 is equals to code. Now so this is stored in the string constant pool. Now we will create another string called s2 which is equals to code again. So now will it create two different string literals in the string constant pool? Answer is no. Why? So what happens is when you create s1, so it creates the code in the string constant pool. So whenever we are trying to create another string with the same thing, what JVM checks is code literal is already present in the pool. So if it is already present, what it will do is it will point to the same constant pool instead of creating a new literal because of memory management. Right? So when we have the same constants, why to create the two different instances for this one? So that's why it creates a single instance. Now another question is, if we update this code, so what happens? So now I am updating the s1, right? So what I will do is s1 is equals to, it is already s1 plus I will add something called Khan. Okay, so now what happens, now this s1 is pointing to the, this s1 is pointing to the code and s2 is also pointing to the code. Now I have updated the s1, so what it will happen, so I am adding the Khan to that. So what it will do is, so it will create another string called codeKhan. Now this s1 is points to this string and s2 still points to same code. Got it? So now s1 is updated, s2 still points to the same code. Now at that moment when s1 is changed, then only it creates a new string literal in the string constant pool. Got it? So now what will let's take some more examples. Now so we can also create strings using new string method, right? So let's create one thing, string s1 is equals to new string of code. So what happens in this scenario? Now what I said, whenever we use a new keyword, it creates a object in heap memory, right? So what happens in this scenario, it creates a object called code in the heap memory. So what is this one? String s2 is equals to simple code. So this one will create the instance in the string constant pool. So there is a difference. So text is same, here is also same, here is also code, but the way we are creating is different. So for s1 we are using new keyword, so it creates a object in heap memory, but for s2 we are using the code, that's why it is created in the string constant pool. So now what it returns, s1 is double equals to s2. So is this true? No, because this equals checks the addresses of objects. Got it? So this will return false. s1 dot equals of s2. So what this will return? So this equals method checks the content of the objects. What is the content of s1? Code, and content of s2 is code. So it is true, because that's why it will return true here. Okay, now I think you understood something about strings. Now let's check about string builder. Okay, now string builders and string buffers, let's take both at a time. So these two are simple. Only difference between string builder and buffer is string builder is not thread safe, where string buffer is thread safe. Got it? So we can create this builder and buffer using the new keyword. Like let's take one example. String builder s1 is equals to new string builder. So let's give the value as code here. So now what happens? So it creates a s1 object in the heap memory, okay, with the code as a value, right? So let's take another example. Let's take one more. Let's create one more variable called s2 is equals to new string builder. I'm creating with the same content. So what happens now? Will it create two different objects, or will it create only one object? So answer me in the comments for this question. So take this as a homework. Answer this in the comments. Okay, now I will explain the difference between this builder and buffer. So we can create builder like this, and the buffer is same as string buffer s1 is equals to new string buffer, and we can give the value here. So here the string builders are string builder and string buffer are mutable, right? Why? So strings are immutable, but the string builder and string buffer are mutable. So we can use append method to update the string builder. So whenever we create a string builder s1 with the new keyword, it creates an object in the heap memory. Let's consider this as a heap memory. So whenever we do that, so it creates one object called code in the heap memory. So if we do s1 dot append, I will append context with to this s1. So now what will happen is it will update the same object with Khan. Instead of creating a new object, it will still update the same object. Got it? So what happens in case of strings? String will create a new instance, whereas string builder and buffer updates the same object. Got it? So what I said the difference between string builder and string buffer? It is string buffer is thread safe, whereas string builder is not. What do you mean by thread safe? So thread safe means all the methods in string buffer are used synchronized. What do you mean by synchronized? So whenever we are using means applying operations on shared resources, it applies lock on this shared resource, and then it will be perform operations on the shared resource, and once the operations are done, then it will release the lock. So if we create a string buffer object, so only one operation can be executed on that resource, and then the lock will be released on that resource. Got it? Okay, that's it. Thank you.